Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I'm going to continue with the autumnal theme, and today I'm going to be painting these acorns with these oak leaves. This is a really pretty stamp set. It's called Amber Autumn. It's got an assortment of really nice sentiments, the pumpkins, which may be featured in an upcoming video, and it comes with these wonderful dies. So you saw me use this overall die in the previous video. Today, once I finish painting my acorns, I'm going to be using this framelit to cut that out. And ultimately, what I plan on doing is creating some decorative elements for the easel gift box, easel card gift box. I'm not sure what the name of it is, that I'm putting together, as well as some Christmas ornaments or some ornaments that could be used for fall home decor. So let's get started. I've already got my stamp mounted up. I've got my water-based ink. This is a retired color called Wild Wheat, but I like it quite a lot. And I'm using the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, which is 100% cotton. It's 140-pound paper, so it's nice and thick. It has some good body to it. And I've got my water painters here, and I'm just going to grab the small and the medium round tip brushes. Now, if you do not have stamps and inks, you can always go out with your trusty pencil, find yourself an acorn, do a quick sketch. It doesn't have to be fancy, and you'll be good to go. But this is just a wonderful method for creating multiples. So in this case, if I want to make a ornament, I could paint the image as I'm showing you here on the thicker watercolor paper, and then I could go ahead and I could cut out with the die several different layers to make it nice and thick. And I'll probably be doing that as well in the next video, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I've got half a sheet of the watercolor paper, and this is just the right size for 2 impressions. So there's our image, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and moisten that with plain water. Let me move this out of the way so we have a little more room here to operate. And I'm just checking to make sure that you can see me, and that looks pretty good, I think. Okay, I'm having a little technical difficulty here with my there we go. All right, now I can see what's happening. All right, so this is just plain water, and I'm using this to kind of melt the outline. So you can see it's a little bit faded here at the tip of this leaf, and that's fine. That's just what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to get this started by creating just a base layer of color on my image. Okay, so that's all it takes to get started. While that's still damp, I'm going to go back into some of these areas and add a little more color. I'm just going to push that around with the tip of my brush just to help that get to the places where I want it. Watercolor is the medium that paints itself, so basically wherever you create moisture, the paint is going to follow. Now for the leaves, the autumn oak leaves have a little more of a golden tone to them. Here we go. Okay, so there are my middle tones, and now I'm mixing up a darker color, adding a little more blue, a little more red to what I already have on my palette here, and this is going to allow me to get into these areas to create an accent. Just keeping it fairly wet. The points on these brushes are nice and crisp, which allow me to do a little bit of drawing with the tip of the brush, which is extremely useful. So I can just develop some of these details a little further. Okay, and then the other thing I'm thinking about is the color balance. So right now, as I look at the painting, it looks a little on the golden side, too much, which is what I'm looking for, but I also want to add a little more of the red element. So I'm going to go back into my red, add some yellow to that. Just a drop of the blue, and see if I can increase the color on my acorns a little bit. There we go. Just sort of blend that in. And then Going back to my leaves, I'm going to pick up some of the detail in the veins. This time using very little water, stronger pigment. Let me stay on screen here so you can see what I'm doing. And then finally, I'm taking my darkest dark. This is almost a pure kind of a violet with just a touch of yellow in there to tone it down a little bit. And this is plenty wet, so this might be a little too soon to do this, but I can begin by just dropping that in the area where I want my darks to be. Just a little too wet for it to hold its shape, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But that's how I would go about painting my acorns. I do need to put a couple of additional touches on here when it's completely dry, but that is the procedure, and I hope that gives you some ideas on how you can get started using your watercolors and your stamps together to create these beautiful images. Now, if I were using this to create a series of cards, for instance, or tags, or maybe some kind of a fall theme table setting, I would be able to do many multiples of this so that each person could have their own little souvenir of the event. I'm going to put another wash of color on this leaf in the background here, make this a little bit darker just to contrast with the one in front of it. There we go. All right, so that's it for the painting of this subject. I will be back in just a little while. Today's going to be a double header for the live videos because I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how I use this to decorate the autumn box with the easel top lid. All right, so stay tuned, and in about an hour or so, I will be back, let's say 1 o'clock, and I will show you how this all comes together. So thank you so much for joining me today. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you in the next video.